Welcome, everybody. We are very happy you joined us today. Welcome to this webinar. And for your information, this webinar will be recorded. We are very happy to see your faces, but if you don't want to be visible in the final recording, you can always turn off your camera. And please keep your mic turned off during the whole duration of the webinar.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Niranjana, and I work with Horizon NUA, where I manage the Connecting Nature Enterprise platform, a platform for nature-based enterprises like yours to connect and collaborate. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar. And this is the final webinar in the autumn webinar series that's organized by the Connecting Nature Enterprise in collaboration with the Go Nature Positive project consultation. Today's topic for the webinar is mainstreaming green buildings in the EU, and we're delighted to have two distinguished speakers with us. First, we have Vera Enzi-Zechner, nature-based solutions consultant and the Vice President of the European Federation of Green Roof and Living Walls Association. Joining her is Cristina Calheiros, an environmental engineer, European Climate Pact Ambassador, and Vice President of the Portuguese National Association of Green Roofs. In addition to exploring the topic of green building, so today's session will also look into the concept note of the Go Nature Positive project. As you might all know, maybe by now, the consultation of the project is going on, and we are trying to create a pathway for the nature positive economy. So we all encourage you to have further dialogue and collaboration on that. And yeah, thank you all for joining us today. And over to you, Vera.
Hello and good late afternoon also from my side. Thanks a lot, Nina, for this nice and comprehensive introduction of us, the speakers, and of course also the aim of the event. Hello to all of you. I hope we will have exciting and interesting insights in the next 1.5 hours. And just like Tatiana already said in the beginning, many colleagues just joined. We will work with an online survey tool called Mentimeter, and Tatiana will be introducing it to you in a few minutes. So yeah, I'm going to start now, and I will try and share my screen. Please let me know if it works, actually.
It works.
So once more, welcome to our today's webinar that we are organizing in cooperation with Go Nature Positive project. In the beginning, a bit of an overview about the EFB, so the European Federation of Green Roof and Green Wall Associations. We are partner in Go Nature Positive project. At the moment, the EFB covers 17 EU countries, and our members, as we are an umbrella federation for nature-based solutions on buildings, our members are national green roof and green wall associations in Europe themselves. So their members basically are research and technology organizations, universities, of course, the core parts, small to medium-sized enterprises of our sector, in some parts as well cities. Yes, so you can see actually here in the overview our current coverage. If you're coming from some countries where the EU is maybe not yet, the EFB is maybe not yet present, feel free to contact us and we will explore together how we can maybe form a suitable organization. Yes, we have also a lot of partnering organizations in the EFB that we are collaborating with very, very closely. So first to mention is the So Green Alliance. So basically, this is the EFB cooperating with ELCA, the European Landscape Contractors Association, IFLA, International Federation of Landscape Architects. ENA is the European Nursery Stock Association, the World Urban Parks Forum, EUB and ILO, in general, of course, on emerging questions and also opportunities in correspondence with the European Commission for green buildings. And also with our World Scope Association, World Green Infrastructure Network, we are very close, and in general also the plant production sector. So what's on the menu today? First part of our program is my job, and the second part I will then give over to Cristina to provide us some very interesting insights from a Portuguese perspective. So it's a joint exercise today. At first, I'm going to give you an introduction to the nature positive economy, so the concept note we've been working on in the project, and we are asking you to provide us some feedback in our online survey for that purpose. Second part will be about green building. So I'm try to give you an overview on what we currently consider standardized technology in our sector, a bit about markets and players, how they normally look. I'm going to show you some insights from an Austrian perspective on that. We will talk about green buildings performance. And in the last part, we're going to a bit focus on what could potentially be a nature positive transition pathway and examples that we can already find in our industry. So, and this is where the first Mentimeter job starts. So we are asking now everybody to join Mentimeter, and Tatiana will quickly take over and show you the first question that we would like to have your answer to. So,
yeah, first I will try to ask you to join as a Mentimeter. You can do it scanning QR code on the screen, or you can go to the link, the first link in this chat. You will see the link directly to this survey. You can open it on the same device where you're having your meeting, or you can do it on the separate device, doesn't matter. You can use the link, you can use QR code, or you can go to website menti.com and enter these numbers you see on the screen now. Maybe you will have, you will need 30 seconds to this. If you have any difficulties, please write us into the chat. Maybe we will help you, but it shouldn't be complicated. I will also now repeat the link in the chat so you can easily go directly to the slides. Yeah, and while you are joining, you will see also the QR code and the numbers on the next slide. You can start to answer the first question. What is your nationality? And you already did it. Yeah, so we will see your replies on the screen, and we will see how diverse our today's group is.
I also did it while Tatiana was nicely talking and introducing you, of course. And I see we already have some people in Mentimeter. And yes, already quite an interesting setup of participants is forming here. So Austria,
people
French,
from Portugal.
Portuguese. Yeah, you managed to bring the crowd, Cristina and Isabella. Great. We are proud of you. That's cool. Wonderful. Yes, getting better and better. And Tatiana, maybe you can already show us some results of the professions here today. We already got 17 responses. Oh, Green Building Association, scientific researcher, landscape architects. Oh, great. Consultants, real estate managers, great. Policymakers, CEOs, biologists. Oh, now it gets fast. Civil engineers, city representative, sustainability sector, sustainability advisor. Also, we have some students present. Okay, great job. I also see we have a director of production here. So that's actually perfect because this is a wonderful group that we would actually really need to explore and also give us some feedback on our concept note. Great. Can I steal back the screen from you, Tatiana? Do you allow it to me? Great. So our first Mentimeter test is now over. So the second time we're going to use it, you will be so fast. It will be wonderful. Thanks a lot. So I'm going to switch back. And yes, let's follow with the menu. So my job is now to give you a quick introduction about our concept note in Go Nature Positive project, which is called Framing the Nature Positive Economy. So what's following? First part will be a quick glossary of abbreviations, because not everybody is familiar with the terms we're currently using. A second part is about why nature is so important to the economy. Then follows a chapter with the 5 key messages that we came up with during the project. And the last part about how you can access our consultation actually and give us your feedback, because this is the current open process. So glossary of abbreviations, we're we're talking about the EC, we're referring to the European Commission. EU means European Union. If you're reading GoNP or GNP, it's about our Go Nature Positive project. Following with NBEs, which are nature-based enterprises. We're going to explore what that actually means in a few seconds. Next abbreviation would be NBS, nature-based solutions. A lot of you will be familiar with the term already. If we're referring to NPE, we're talking about the nature positive economy, and NPIs would be nature positive initiatives. So now you are already in the middle of our project. What are we doing actually in Go Nature Positive? So we have identified quite a challenge. So at the moment we have multiple sustainable economic concepts and a lack of clarity and directions, and also a lack of knowledge on how to operationalize these concepts. So our research question is as follows. What's a nature positive economy? How can it get operationalized? What's the position of nature-based solutions and nature-based enterprises within this economy? And how can we measure progress towards achieving a nature positive economy? And at the end of the project, it just started beginning of this year, actually in January, we will hopefully have a clear definition of what a nature positive economy is and a clear guidance on how this concept is going to land in policy, business, and society. At the very moment, we are basically in the global consultation phase, which is the fourth pillar that you can see on that screen. So what we are currently doing is running a rigorous co-creation process with a lot of different stakeholders and people to find out if the definition we've come up with yet is actually suitable for all. Nature-based solutions, I think a lot of experts are here today, so I won't go into detail with this slide. They play a vital role in the nature positive economy because they boost stocks of natural capital, stimulate ecosystem services, and they deliver diverse benefits to business and society. And also nature-based solutions on buildings, namely green roofs and also green walls, are a part of the nature-based solutions technology ecosystem. So what are nature-based enterprises then? Easily explained, nature-based enterprises use nature as a core element of their product or service offering for the planning, delivery, and or stewardship of nature-based solutions and engage in economic activity. In our project, we are looking at different nature-based enterprises sectors, so health, well-being, apiculture, coastal and marine, sustainable tourism, regenerative agriculture, and last but not least, our group today, green buildings. So if you do our survey on the concept note and you consider yourself a nature-based enterprise, and I think a lot of nature-based enterprises are here today, you can actually really push the button and identify yourself as one, because nature-based enterprises contribute in the planning phase, they contribute in the delivery phase, and also in the stewardship phase through design, installation, and maintenance related processes, and could be even more than that, actually. So part number 2, why is nature important to the economy? Quite fastly explained. You can take a look at the nice picture on the right side of my slide, but everyone and everything in society depends on nature, not just we as private people, but as well, of course, businesses. And we need a healthy planet to survive and prosper. However, you know that from a lot of reports active and actually published on a worldwide perspective, but also in very local perspectives, nature is in free fall. So currently we're really totally steering into the wrong direction. And there is a need to transform businesses and economic systems to work with and for nature. And we have to help to reverse negative trends we are currently having. So aligned with net zero and circular approaches, together a transformation is possible. But for a systemic change to work, every person in society needs to be involved. And that's a crucial part of the nature positive economy concept that we actually propose. So let's look at the key messages. We got 5 of them. So a nature positive economy means that all the net results of all economic activities combined lead to an absolute increase in nature towards full recovery. Second key message, operationalizing the nature positive economy means businesses, governments, other actors take actions across multiple scales and sectors, aligning with societal factors to improve social, ecological well-being and equity. Third message, while the nature crisis exposes significant dependencies, impacts, and nature-related risks, we see that the nature positive economy presents multiple new opportunities that should not be neglected. Key message number 4, it's essential to measure progress towards achieving the nature positive economy. Otherwise, we will not make progress. And an integrated whole of society approach, also respecting human rights, of course, is needed to achieve the nature positive economy. So I'm looking into the consultation paper. I think Tatiana will give you a link directly into the chat, how you can actually access the consultation to our paper. It's directly placed on the homepage. It's really easy. We translated the content in very different formats, easy to understand. And the survey also automatically understands from what country you are actually logging in, and it will even propose you a suitable language. So please don't be afraid and help us do the survey and give us some feedback so that we can reach the final phase and yes, actually publish our concept note in the coming 2-3 months. So question number 1, the survey is going to ask you, what do you think about the definition of a nature positive economy? The definition above, yeah, means that the net results of all economic activities combined lead to an absolute increase in nature to the point of full recovery. But this also means that nature negative activities may still occur as long as the combined outcome overall is nature positive. We are really keen on having your feedback on that question. In regards to how the nature positive economy aligns with other core ideas of green economy, bioeconomy, circular and net zero economy, actually this slide presents its positioning very well. We were asking you, what comments do you have on this framing? Also the framing of the other currently existing concepts. And yes, we hope, at least this was the aim, we were building on the existing concepts already there and trying to create a whole society approach. When it comes to operationalizing the nature positive economy, we introduced basically these 4 key aspects: factors, scale, sector, and societal factors. You can actually see that very nicely on the picture on the right side. By the way, the sectors we've chosen, so the 5 are the ones of our project, but in general, of course, the approach is even valid for more sectors than the ones mentioned. And in regards to the scaling, local, regional, national, EU, global, so it's quite a large scale. And in terms of societal factors, we've been concentrating on human well-being, equity, and prosperity. And in terms of the actors required, we have chosen the whole society approach. Here we ask you in the survey, is this a comprehensive operationalizing concept? What kind of actions are needed? Easily explained, nice graphic again on the right side. We are asking you in that case if you agree with the actions we are actually proposing, reducing negative impact, so do less of the bad stuff, increasing nature positive actions, do much more of the good stuff, and of course action towards transformative change, so long-term activities towards a system-wide change will be needed, and measuring progress, of course, beyond GDP is a must, because otherwise we're not respecting our boundaries, and we also don't know how we actually perform. Yes, we also said the nature positive economy comes along with significant new opportunities. As a center concept, nature-based solutions and nature-based enterprises, because they are the first movers and they are important players on this pathway towards a nature positive economy. We have a lot of risks currently that come from nature, and we have a lot of opportunities, for example, in green-blue infrastructure, sustainable urban planning, in sustainable construction and water management technologies, in a shift to regenerative agriculture, ecosystem services in market and ecotourism, just to name a few. And last but not least, build resilience to future shocks and increase, of course, resource efficiency, which is a core topic of every SME or even, of course, large scale companies or enterprises when thinking about the future. So yes, in regards to nature-based enterprises, we are asking you that we, of course, propose a set of new opportunities, maybe even more than the ones mentioned, of course. Would you agree on that? And what opportunities, this is actually also an open question, do you see? We did not spot yet. Yes, key message number 4 is that basically we propose an integrated approach. We build on existing and emerging best practice. We try to measure the progress of business, government, and other actors and actions that they take across defined sectors and scales, which you also saw before, and taking into account the impact on these actions on societal factors. So if we follow that basically progress measure proposition, actually this should lead to a measurable impact on halting nature loss, contributing to restoration, regeneration, and transforming systems on a long term. So here we would be asking you, what metrics do you think are appropriate for measuring a nature positive economy? Because maybe you as well have some further ideas on how metrics could be designed. So what we came to basically was that, of course, measures and their progress can be looked at from a top-down scanning of metrics and nature positiveness of the economy, but can be also measured by a bottom-up interpretation of nature positiveness and useful metrics. So we are proposing that, of course, both ways are necessary. Yes, some examples how that actually could work like. So most of you will be familiar with the SDGs and also, for example, the Task Force on Nature, nature-related financial disclosures, maybe also the donut economy concept. So what the nature positive economy concept we are proposing is distinguishing there from the mentioned examples is that we are proposing a whole of society approach and not just a sectoral or yes, a limited action in scale or actors. So last but not least, the last key message about the whole of society approach. So a nature positive economy will require legislation to stop environmentally harmful activity and support nature positive actions alongside voluntarily and citizen-led initiatives. It will, of course, respect international human rights, and it will support equity, fairness, and justice. And here also comes a spotlight to the fact that net nature positive means that there are certain parts of nature that would potentially be lost, and there are certain parts of nature negative actions that may be acceptable. And the question is how to decide what's acceptable. So this area of the consultation paper, we are asking you, yes, what if you agree about our whole society approach, of course, and that constructive engagement with citizens and all of society is actually essential. So here, basically, I'm quite ending in time about the first part, and a quick overview on our consultation. So you can use, of course, the QR code given on the slide. You can actually also get in touch or go to www.gonaturepositive.eu. And I'm quite sure Tatjana will also supply you with the link in the chat. So we would be really glad to receive your feedback. It really helps us in the last bit of the framing process that we still have today. And once we got the concept note finished, we are going to work with indicators and, yes, apply them to our different industries and sectors and see where we're currently standing and how we could actually progress. So thanks a lot for that first part. I'm going to drink a bit of water. Yes, happy to continue with the second part. It's about mainstreaming green buildings in the EU. So we should be, of course, looking into the market, at how traditional marketing green buildings on a national scale actually looks like. And also, of course, that question comes along with a bit of technology definition. So what are green roofs? This is our technology scope number 1. So we concluded green roofs normally have a layered build up. You can see an example of different layers. A green roof can be built in the nice picture in the middle of the slide. If we look across the markets in whole Europe, we have different technical standards that actually frame how nowadays we are designing, installing, and maintaining green roofs. I just mentioned, for example, the Austrian standard, which is the EU-Norm LF31. It's currently being updated. It will be renewed and hopefully also translated to English in 2025. Early 2025. I also wanted to let you know that there is also a standard in Switzerland. It's the SIA 312, published in 2013, also focused on certain biodiversity aspects, also an interesting standard when it comes to green roofs. Then there is, of course, the very famous all over the world FLL guidelines coming from the German perspective. A lot of guidelines of cities available across all of Europe. Here mentioned the Green Roof Guideline of the city of Vienna, which was updated in 2020. But we also find a green roof standard in Italy and the Czech Republic, for example. So whatever country you look, you will find, of course, suitable technology definition and guidance. And in case there are also standards involved, you will find certain performance criteria, the build-up itself, but also the different layers and components must provide for the system in order to work. Yes, and in general, we separate between extensive green roofs, semi-intensive green roofs to intensive green roofs. And that, of course, when looking at the project, depends on the statics we find on site, on the root-proof insulation, of course, and waterproofing applied, and the use case. Yes. So how do these kind of green roofs look like? I don't know how many green roof experts are actually present today. I hope a lot. So we can also see some recent development. Yes, we've come together with, of course, the energy demand and solar side a lot. So this is, I would say, one of the fastest developing markets we're currently seeing. You see an extensive combination on more the left side of the slide and an intensive combination on the right side at the bottom. But actually also people can use vegetables and herbs are being produced there. And on the right side top, this is a refurbishment of a building from 1870 approximately, an intensive roof garden. So also this kind of heritage transformation projects we can find. Technology scope number 2, forms of green walls. Actually, we don't find as many standards in green walls nowadays than we do on the roof side. In Austria, there is actually really a green wall standard as well. It was published in 2021. It's the UNAM L 1136. It was just translated into English, so it should be available within the next 2 months. We also find the German FLL guideline for the respective sector being used, of course, in a lot of different countries, and a lot of city-specific or even regional to local guidelines across whole of Europe. What we find are mainly these, let's say, 3 to 5 categories explained in the pictures on the right side. So we find walls that are, of course, working with climbing plants, with trellises, without trellises, rooted in soils or in suitable sized plantainers. If the plantainers are already integrated in the wall, we have already plantainer-based systems. And on the right side, at least in Austria, this is how we distinguish. We distinguish between green wall systems that are always back ventilated, and some of them can come with in a modular build up, and others would come as a whole body system. So basically, this is how this technology could be distinguished. Of course, projects are also bound to a lot of on-site conditions, so static, soil and root space availability, facade surface materials, build-ups, targeted performance, city architecture, etc. Because normally facades, like the face, very visible in the middle of the street, so they must not just fit to the building, but also, of course, fit to the streetscape and to the overall goals. That's actually nice picture of a living wall system. In that case, it's a modular one. Yes, and can be even planted with self-seeding plants. So also this technology, of course, is developing since a few years very, very fast. A lot of different systems available on the market. This is a picture from a hotel renovation. Actually, it's a zero emission building, and it works with mainly self-climbing plants. And of course, if you look into that picture, you will also recognize that, yes, you need a very good also regulations or guidance on necessary maintenance plans. So last but not least, I'm going to look into the market now. That's a picture of Vienna. I'm very glad that my colleagues in Austria from Grünstadt Grau have provided it to me, that I can show it today. Yes, this is how Vienna could look like. Its potentials are very well surveyed. So the story is that around 2014-15 in the European Federation, we started promoting market research, market reporting activities. And actually there is quite a nice approach and method existing on how national markets can be evaluated. And so far, over 10 market reports could be collected already. Apart from one, all of them are publicly accessible. So you just place your email address and you get the document. They are very different in their sizes and in their content, but still they offer really, really interesting insight to the different specific market in Europe. And yes, of course, about the players and the different policies also in place from the national scopes. What I also wanted to mention, I think this is something that influences our market currently very strongly, is that we find a lot of suitable directives and policies from a European Commission perspective. So, for example, the European Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, which leads on a national scale to, of course, green roofs and green walls being implemented in the system of energy certification for buildings, also renovation passports, thinking of the current ongoing process of, yes, pushing forward the renovation wave. of course, also with European Commission support in relation to the initiative of the European Bauhaus in terms of quality, also good project for people, buildings, also biodiversity. What's also mentioned here is the EPD, which is the Environmental Product Declaration, also being adopted on national scales currently. A lot of clever people trying to find out how our systems are performing and how they can get into related databases. Actually, we have a webinar next week. It's our European update format, and we will have somebody speaking about especially this topic next week. So ways of integrating green building technologies into the Environmental Product Declaration and experiences with it. Yes, the third policy level mentioned here is the nature restoration law, which is quite new still, so we won't find that many examples yet, but it also has an urban dimension, especially when it comes to trees and tree coverage. So we're also expecting, because at the moment the member states, they have to write and propose their national plans. I think at the moment more in the existing nature conservation area, but this is a process. It will go on and it will transform over the past few years. What's actually very present on national level is the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive and related wastewater and also rainwater management plans that the national states, but also yes, regional and municipal organizations are actually preparing. Next part, and we will also see some nature positive examples in relation to that directive, is the taxonomy. So it's related to sustainability reporting of businesses of a certain size, which is a bit of a, yeah, let's say big area. And I think also an area where a lot of development can actually happen. If we're thinking especially also about companies that own a certain amount of real estate and are actually working with them and also need to think how to transform these buildings to be, yes, more resilient over the next decade. So yes, you are invited to take a look at the market report. I can already see Tatiana has sent a link in the chat where you can actually access them. And yes, I just took as an example the recent Austrian Green Market Report. It was already our second edition, and it looks at the time span between 2019 and 2002. So it actually covers the COVID crisis also. Quite interesting. When we do market reporting in Austria, actually we work together, of course, with market research experts, but also with the Austrian Ministry of Climate, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology. And of course, with the Austrian Climate and Energy Fund and the Austrian funding agencies. So we don't do this alone as an association. And with our recent survey, of course, we're also looking into the situation when it comes to cities, for example. So we can see 75% of Austrian cities already implement climate change adaptation strategies, which is quite a positive trend, I would say. And 30% of these municipalities also have quite strong green roof policies in place. Green roof is not the cherry on top, but a mandatory. But number one measure, of course, all our Austrian cities are currently deploying are urban trees. So what you can see on the scale on the right side is actually different kinds of steering instruments our cities are using to push. So prescribing rainwater treatments, retention, infiltration, and then keeping rainwater on site, on spot is still measure number one. And of course, a lot of this in force. Creation of additional green spaces and the use of a defined green space factor that is a mandatory for city quarters, for example, and in the viewpoint or perspective for spatial planning, very popular measure. Of course, also prescribing green roofs and green walls in local planning instruments and the building regulations and building plans is also a measure which is, yes, taken quite often. But what we also see are some measures that are still quite new to the Austrian market, like, for example, introducing a bonus for sewer fees for rainwater retention and use, or the allocation of eco-points for climate change adaptation measures for other municipal charges. So these would be two examples of for steering instruments that are at the moment not yet used in Austria, but we can already see some in preparation. So in the next 12 months, we see potentially here some first developments. So when we're talking about the green building sector, what are we talking about? So what you see here in the graph, it's I think actually quite easily explained. So I'm going to use, sorry, the pointer. Can I use it? Laser pointer. I hope you can see it. So yes, so this is a picture of the Austrian value chain. It was also validated in other countries, so it will be not that much changing if we would look at another country. So along the value chain, we find research and technology development, planning, consulting, project development, production of basic materials, components and systems, system integration, construction, maintenance and care. And along basically this value chain, we find a lot of different companies and SMEs to large enterprises involved. And actually, this is already now the second time we do this survey. So the first time, if I'm correct, we looked at the time between 2014 and 2017, and now 2018 until 2022. So when you see the round number always in the middle in the original graphic and the number next to it, which was added later on, this is the change in numbers. So what we can see here is that during the second phase of market research, it was even during the COVID time, covered the COVID time, basically along all the value chain and with all the different parts of the players, we had growth. And really a lot. So a lot of new players have entered the market. There is a strong research competence, especially from an Austrian viewpoint. Yes, and we also try to propose a strategy, because we also know, thanks to that market report, that currently in Austria, we only green every 10th flat roof that could potentially be green. So every 10th flat roof that is newly built is green. So the other 9 are not. So we said, in case our politicians or our government could decide on a strategy to raise this this part of the cake to 50% until 2030, that would already generate approximately 3,500 new green, nature positive jobs only from an Austrian perspective. So we can see, yes, the markets are basically growing and the value chains are well established, which is, to my understanding, also logical, because especially when we're looking at green roofs, already standardized technology activities started in the 1980s, industrialized activities, or even earlier. So yes, this is not a new market. Now you will ask yourself, of course, also how many square meters are we installing per year? You can see that in 2022, we managed to get over the 1.5 million square meters mark. Austria is a small country, but I think we're still in comparison performing quite well. So the total aerial coverage of our green roofs that we install every year is about 217 soccer fields. And which is also something very, very, I think, nice and promising, is that in 2022, we also already installed 19,000 square meters of solar green roofs, because we had a late start with this technology. And some other European market. As we know, solar green roofs have been developing faster than in Austria, but now also due to a lot of change in guidance, and also currently we are integrating this technological scope into our standard. It was not yet incorporated in the standard before. Yes, the market is of course changing and growing. But in every market, you will also have roadblocks, right? So what are our current roadblocks? Looking onto the green roof side, I could also show you all of this for the green facade side. In case you're interested, please get in contact with me. But it's just simply too much for our webinar today. But thinking of roadblocks, just to explain the graph. So the dark green parts would be a rating, which is this roadblock never or rarely occurs. The orange is already often, and in between is this, the often is sorry, the orange part is it occurs very often. And in the light green and the light orange part, it's about that this risk occurs rare or often. It's actually funny when we, I think, first invented or asked for the hurdles, that graphic in the first reporting period looked slightly different. So yes, it's quite good to see that we still have a lot of hurdles in care. So this is definitely a topic to work on. Maintenance of green roofs is still a roadblock, but mainly because the understanding of the client and those responsible for it is not well elaborated. Some people still have in their head, it's a green roof, there is a bit of substrate on the roof, a few succulents living on it, so there is no action needed. So that, of course, is a subject of work. And it's quite interesting and nice to see that the building-specific hurdles, like statics, roof design, other technical hurdles that are also parts that are basically very well covered by a standard, a building standard, because in Austria we decided to invent a building standard for green roofs already in the year of 2010, is just now more rarely a hurdle, and actually not very much. So what we also see, it's quite easy to get the green roof executed. So they're less about bad quality or know-how deficit, the official approval, so the authority actions required or requested, yes, obviously very well elaborated, so you won't find roadblocks here. More still some roadblocks in maybe and overall costs, and also less and less roadblocks in reservations or rumors. Also potential clients have heard, like a green roof is always leaking because this technology is not proper, or the ceiling will yes have less life expectancy. So it's time to get you active again. Please try check the Mentimeter. We will have a look at it once I gone through a few slides on the performance-driven nature-based solutions implementation. So what we are asking you in the Mentimeter, from what you've heard today until now, what could potentially be nature negative about green buildings? And I'm really, really curious what answers we will get back on Mentimeter on that, because I keep thinking about this for weeks now, and I will keep thinking about this, of course, over the next months in the project. So I would be really glad if we also get some thoughts and hints from your side. So please go on Mentimeter again. We have practiced that. I know that you can do it. And yes, please give us your thoughts on potentially nature negative processes, components, services, whatever could be nature negative about green roofs or green walls. Thanks a lot. So I will just go and look into some trends that we can also see in the market that are quite strong. So I think especially when it comes to nature-based solutions on buildings, we are already a performance driven sector. So we have learned to argue and design our green roofs and green walls related to performances, also ecosystem services that can be expected. I think what is also not just a trend, but a necessity is that we have to acknowledge that our nature-based solutions and buildings are an integral part of urban to rural planning and adaptation. So not just some fragmented implementations, but there should be a plan. There is a strategy. Looking at the city of Vienna, for example, a lot of strategic thinking came out of the urban heat island strategy that had to be invented, because also the city was growing fast and was growing really, really dense over the past decade. So this slide is a bit small. Actually, it also contains a link. So if you look at the presentation later on, of course, you can also explore it in more detail. But it shows basically that we have a lot of different green roofs, so garden roof, industrial lightweight roofs. We can also work with vertical farmings inside, also outside of buildings now. Solar green roofs of different kinds are more and more on the spot. Retention roofs, roofs dedicated to biodiversity, but also permeable green paving, climate activated design of, for example, also shopping malls or parks. Rain gardens, of course, get more and more popular. We see also first integration of rain garden concepts into green facades when we are thinking about the root space of climbing plants. We are also seeing a lot of trending projects in refurbishing buildings with a lot of glass, with also green curtains, so also climbing plants in order to change the energy balance of the buildings. There is a lot on gray water, even sometimes waste and black water purification that gets integrated into systems. Yes, and the sponge city tree concepts, for example, get more and more integrated into our technologies. I mean, of course, a green roof is one of the solutions of a sponge city concept. That's clear. What we have learned really, really well is that nature-based solutions on buildings are a performance-oriented technology, and we can very well tailor our project to the need of the building. So temperature, light, ventilation, energy production, water, material, even life cycle analysis and carbon balance are already a topic in the industry. We know that we can create savings and gains for our customers with that. We are actually getting better and better selling and implementing our technology in relation to the performance a certain building would need. But not just this aspect. This aspect, of course, is really important if you want to, of course, explain and do a good project for an investor. But I think what should be also even more on the agenda, and it actually is if you're looking into the many cities, we have contribution to urban green, stormwater backing, noise reduction, cooling through shadow and evaporation, improvement of air quality, space creation. Yes, quality of occupancy and also the environment. So a lot of nature-based solutions, benefits and co-benefits that we can have from implementing, and our industry is adopting to that. This is my guest picture for you. What can you see here? And maybe one of the hints, what could be potentially nature negative about green buildings. So what you see on this picture is 72 different 4 square meter green roofs with a different build-up from understandard to overstandard, improved substrate, improved water capacity, improved nutrient content available, etc. But all of them were greened actually with the same amount and the same species seed mix. And this is the picture you see after 3 years. So I would say the build up and the way how we design and build and what materials we are using on a green roof really matters if we can make a nature positive project out of it, good for biodiversity, people and society, or if we're creating a desert, which of course is not the purpose. So, I'm already a bit late in time. Maybe we are going to shift our look at Mentimeter a bit to the back once I can check what you have answered. But at this very point in the webinar, I'm going to make you aware that we have the fourth question on Mentimeter already also active for you, which is what other nature positive use cases in our industry can you spot? Because just in time, it's about 6 o'clock, we are now changing to some nature positive use cases that the team from the EFB and also ANCV has identified in the project. So while you are working a bit on Mentimeter, I'm going to take you through a few examples that we spotted. So for nature-based enterprises, for projects, for services, but also for products. So the first one is actually a project which I personally consider highly nature positive. I think it's, somebody even said it's the, I don't know, the 10th, one of the world wonders, maybe the 9th or the 10th. It's located in Switzerland. It's actually a proof that a green roof can perform over decades and year hundreds, and it can contribute meaningful to, of course, a lot of different benefits, but most of all, biodiversity. So this is the water supply facility in Wollishofen in Switzerland. The green roof is over 120 years old. It's a semi-intensive green roof. It covers an area of 3 hectares. So yes, it also has size. And yes, there are 175 different plant species living on it. And yes, amongst them, a good set of orchid species that actually are rarely to be found in the rest of Switzerland anymore. And as numerous research activities looking at the fauna integrated into that green roof have shown, yes, this project is exceptional. So what we can also do with our project, if we do and design them well, is we can really meaningfully contribute also to conservation and recovery of habitat. Yes, a second trend or hint of nature positive I've seen when looking into our industry. So we all know that we have some nature-based enterprises that also provide technology or systems for green roofs and green walls. I think green roofs got more industrialized in the 1980s. The picture was more like a sedum blanket, a vegetation, extensive green roof for many years. But basically all the system providers in the last 5 to 10 years have also changed their portfolio into also the offer of biodiversity, green roofs, yes, nature green roofs that come along with a lot of different features for birds, for beetles, for bugs. For water retention, also in combination with solar. So I would say this is a nature positive development that our sector is having. What we also see is a lot of interesting concepts that get somehow together with our sector. So what I took here as an example is studio animal aided design. Some of you may know them. If you don't, check them out. So basically animal aided design helps to get a city quarter or also a building proof for nature. So it means that certain possibilities for different species in, yes, finding food, nesting, etc., are implemented on a proper way that really also a green roof and green wall in that sense can function as a, yes, full habitat. Another example that I spotted for climate change adaptation and mitigation process is, for example, nature-based enterprise GreenPass from Vienna. So basically they are offering services related to the EU taxonomy directive, but also a software as a service approach for other planners, so they can assess buildings and city quarters in relation to the performance, and also they can assess assets and portfolios in line with the ESG and other regulations. I think that's quite a nature positive development too. If we take a look at what they can do on city scale, this is a case study which is also available on opla.eu in case you want to take a look. So it's about basically transforming a whole city quarter into an integrated concept. Also, of course, implementing a certain amount of density necessary actually to reach the performance targeted. It's also very heavily incorporated on the social housing side. So I invite you to take a look also to that. And yes, last but not least, another nature-based enterprise example would be Gentian Limited, now a little scope to UK. So what they do is, for example, they use machine learning and remote sensing data to map habitat types for biodiversity baseline, so they can say is it a good habitat or not, should be changed, yes or no. They can assess urban green infrastructure for climate adaptation, so they can assess also green roof potentials, for example. Yes, they also, of course, identify retrofit possibilities, and of course they can also run monitoring and reporting processes, for example, thinking about TFND and biodiversity net gain in the UK. So definitely worth a look. They just, I think, recently published 2 interesting case studies, one for developers and landowners, and the second one for municipalities and real estate developers in London. Yes, where they are looking for possibilities of green roofs with a high biodiversity, for example, how and also renewable energy could be integrated. So yes, take a look in case you would like to. And yes, when it comes to promotion of biodiversity, and that's, I think, quite a nice shift when now giving the word to our colleagues from Portugal, the Gravity Project, which is also a citizen science project. Evaluating the contribution of green roofs and walls for cities' biodiversity with the support of people, which actually, of course, quite a clever and nice way also connecting our solutions or these nature-based solutions to people. Yes, I now invite you, Cristina. Would you like to take over and yes, try to mirror what we've heard about nature positive concept on a Portuguese scale? So how could it look like? What kind of traces could you find?
Thank you very much, Vera. I will start to share the PowerPoint. Thank you very much for the organization of this webinar. And thank you, Vera, for your nice presentations. For your nice presentation. That was really important to have that framework in order to understand also the project and what are we talking about in the end. So I will talk a little bit about examples of natural materials. We are talking about nature positive, and these are some case studies that I'm going to share from Portugal. But before, I just would like to highlight again the importance of a part of being nature positive is also the materials that we use. And we heard Vera talking about nature-based solutions and how they can be incorporated in the building, outside, top, facades, inside the buildings, around the buildings, but also the materials are really important because it's not because we have plants or it's green that is sustainable or ecological. So to evaluate the life cycle assessment of the materials and really have take care of that issue is really important. And with that, I'm going to show a real case project that already finished. That was Green Urban Living. That was based on looking for a material that could be used in the drainage layer. You know, we saw Vera showing the layers of the green roofs. One of the layer is the drainage layer. So this project looked for a material, in this case cork, a cork-based material, and cork.
Sorry, Cristina.
Yes.
Are you sharing your slides?
Yes.
Because we can't see it, or at least I can't. Isabella, you?
I also cannot see.
No, I can't see.
Sorry.
Can you please?
Oh
Thanks.
my
I'm
gosh.
sorry to interrupt you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, because I will check now if you are seeing.
Yes.
Yes, now we see.
Yes.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me make sure that
Just let's see it again.
No, I know. Just like
okay.
I was just making sure that the sound was connected. So everything, now it's okay. Sorry.
Yes.
So what I was saying, and going briefly, so this was the materials, and I showed this this image to talk about the materials and how it's important to consider nature-based solutions also through the materials that they are made of. So it's not just because it's green, it's sustainable, we have to go further on and deeper on the materials. So this is the project that I was talking about, the Green Urban Living, that searched for a material to be used in the drainage layer. And this material was cork. Cork is extracted from a tree, and the oak tree. And it's very interesting because it has a high performance in terms of thermal, acoustic or noise reduction, drainage and retention functions, and also anti-vibration and insulation features. And we can use cork as an agglomerate board. I will show you. So like this. The cork is extracted from the tree, we have an agglomerate, and then we can transform the agglomerate in this board. And this one, it's the specific one to be used in the green roofs because it has these strains, as you see, these lines, where the water goes through. So this is the questions. Can we have the same performance on a green roof, or even better using natural materials? So that was all about this project. It was co-supported by European Union, and several companies were involved. And the main object was developing an expanded cork agglomerate to be used as a drainage layer. And we wanted to also highlight the importance of the insulation, but also related with the climate change impact. When we have heat waves or when we have a peak of precipitation, how this board could also respond. And these are the trees. If you don't know, it's the Quercus suber tree, and in Portugal has a long history and prevalence because we have around 1.2 million hectares with these trees. And also it's very important in terms of jobs because we have around 12,000 people engaged in this process. So there are other places of the world that has also Quercus suber, but in Portugal it's really representative. And part of the extraction is used for cork stoppers, but is also used a lot in construction. But part is in the for the cork stoppers in the bottles, wine bottles and others. So I put it here, cork stoppers waste, but this is not waste. This is also like a subproduct, a material very interesting, because in the cork industry, everything is we can use because everything is value. Even the dust, it's value from the cork. So this is the production site, the factory, where the cork particles are cooked and transformed in a black agglomerate, because they go into an oven and they go through high temperatures. And what happens is that this is what it looks like. We have the agglomerate that releases suberin, that it's the natural glue, so they are all connected in a natural way. So this is how you see the photos from the factory. And after this production, those lines that we saw before are made, and we can have different dimensions of the cork board. So as I said before, here in the schematic representation, we have the plants, we have the technical substrate, filter layer, and then the cork board. The ICB, also called, that is insulation cork board, that is the same, and then the slab. And this is very interesting because, as you see on the right side, you also have different shapes. You can have it in different shapes. And I will go through very briefly into this, but just for you to know that a lot of scientific papers have already been published related with the hydrothermal behavior. So you can look, and if you want, you can ask us, that we will provide. All of this has been under research. And there was this standard roof that was with the board, 10 centimeters of this cork board, 10 centimeters of substrate, and then herbaceous plants in the top. And several tests were made concerning retention capacity, in this case 17 liters per square meter, that is very good. The sound insulation was also evaluated, and in terms of thermal resistance and acoustic was also looked into. So if you want, we don't have much time to go deeper in this, but we can provide these studies, as I said. So here you can see how the implementation can be done in a real green roof. So you have these boards that are all connected, and they are put after the slab, and then after this we have the filter and the substrate and the plants. And this is another view of a different green roof and the different stages of implementation, and here with the covering of the plants. So as you see, it's very interesting in terms of landscape integration. So this was the development of the material, the drainage layer. And I will give two examples of the application. One is in a municipal building, that this building is now converted in a living lab. So here you can see the building from above. And this was the implementation, an intensive green roof where you can walk through it. And it was very important for the municipality because they can now do visits, and they also have a vertical green wall. So some highlights: this green roof has different heights of the substrate, varying between 15 centimeters and 30 centimeters, because we have different plant types. We have smaller plants, but also bulrushes, and so we need more substrate in some parts. But as you see, it's a very diverse and interesting green roof that has this system that is the cork board. So this is the plan. not all the building was covered with the green roof, but that is the intention of the municipality to the next stage. So these are some of the plants that were considered, local plants adapted to the climate with low maintenance. That is also very important. Here you see the irrigation system. This green roof is low intensive in terms of water management, because the irrigation system needs to be there, but it was only used in the setup phase, in the initial phase, and then when is necessary in extreme events, when it's very hot, so it is used. But otherwise, the water keeps into a minimum, and that is why also a sustainable system. Here you can see photos of the vertical wall, the green wall, still being covered, also made of recycled plastic retrieved from the sea. And so the main aim was provide several ecosystem services related with biodiversity promotion, educational sites, being a living lab, and also provide a leisure space for the employees and visitors. And now it's keep on this research related with the thermal and humidity sensors. So we are monitoring some parameters, abiotic parameters, and also a weather station. So as you see, these are some other photos, and I will share this video with you. I don't think you are not hearing the sound, but Isabella, she will share the video, the link in the chat, and you can see it afterwards. It's really worth it, and you can see it. The link will be in the chat. The other case study, it's also a municipal building. It's a school, and it is so it was retrofitted in 2023. So it's around 700 square meters of green area, and it was very interesting because the main aim was to promote thermal comfort for the students and the staff, improve energy efficiency inside of the building, local biodiversity, and also integration in the building. And this was, you can see on the right side, there's a green roof there with a slope. Another green roof is a biosolar roof. And here, the aim was also to produce energy to be used in the school. So this was following all the technical guidelines, and it's already implementing and producing energy. And these are some of the phases of the construction. And this is other green roof, complete horizontal green roof. And as you see, also the irrigation system. And in this case, it was used also the GUL system of the cork, and it was used several species mixed with sedum carpets. So some highlights here. You can see here also on the left side the climateric station for monitoring. So in both case studies we are monitoring some parameters. And then this one we have a closer look to the sloped green roof. And we have sensors in the top of the green roofs and inside of the building, because we are comparing the efficiency with a green roof of a classroom with a green roof and a classroom with a conventional roof with the same conditions. So this, we hope to bring more results in the next future. So here is another. And this is very interesting because this has a huge attention. It caught a huge attention from the media and from several programs, because this is leading by example, and for the municipalities, also for both municipalities, is very important, because one is from municipality of Maia and the other one municipality of Porto. This is very important because it's leading by example, and the next step is to replicate these systems. Let's see if I have sound in this one. Okay, I'm just going to check once more if I can put it sound, because this is really the sound is connected, and we tried so many times. Let's see if this one.
Not working yet, Cristina. So
no.
I will put the link in the chat.
So please do it. This is very interesting because it was an interview that was made to the students in the school related with nature, sustainability, and if they are going to be mayors, what should they do towards nature inclusion and protecting the environment? So it's, you know, children are very honest. So I really advise you, if you have the opportunity, to see this video. So with this, I showed you these two examples that applied the cork-based board, and we are having very good results. So if you want to have more details, you are welcome to contact us, and we are here for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Cristina, for this really interesting reflection of some nature positive development and process changing the market in a certain country. I think that's quite cool. And yes, I've actually checked the Mentimeter, and I'm now asking Tatiana, could you get the results of our what could potentially be nature negative survey on the screen? Because I think it's really cool.
Yeah, the thing is, there are a lot of results.
Yes, it's great. So you gave us a lot of different hints. Some of them actually were, I think, also quite new for us. So yes, we have to reflect, for example, what materials we are currently using, what the carbon footprints are, but not just in the production of the material, but as well, of course, in transportation carbon, for example. I think what was also a part in a result of the survey is that, of course, building new buildings as a general habit, is of course always going along with nature destroy, and as well, of course, the increase of land use. So yes, of course, really also for our whole market to push and ask for refurbishment market rather than for new buildings being built, I think is a really powerful and important nature positive move. And yes, of course, yes, if we create bad performing projects in terms of vegetation, in terms of build up, etc., of course, that would be rather harming than acting nature positive. That's clear. So thanks a lot. If you're interested also in the results of the survey, we are really happy to share them with you also afterwards. Actually, it was said today already that we are organizing basically today's webinar in cooperation with the Connecting Nature-Based Enterprises platform. I think that's really important for all of you who are here who are not yet members of the Connecting Nature-Based Enterprises platform. So I think this is now the time to also put this link into the chat. Actually, don't hesitate. It's an open community. It's actually really cool. We're just building up a very nice spot there where we can share our best projects, where we can further collaborate and work together on this nature-based on this nature positive topic over the next couple of years. So I'm going to switch back to my presentation now to give you a quick wrap up and maybe also a nice intro on what's coming next. So let's see if I succeed, because I had to start the presentation again. So can you see the slide? Yes, you can?
Yes, yes. Link to the
Tatiana gives
survey.
me a yes. Okay, yes, no, great. So maybe you would be interested about how our project will go on from now. So I advise you sign up at our webpage for updates as well on the Go Nature Positive topic. We will now, after the consultation phase has closed and we have concluded on our concept note, of course, as well in very close dialogue with the European Commission, who has basically called for this project. We are going to explore and set up indicators and frameworks on how we can actually assess if something or a company or a process or a product, a city, a project would be performing nature positive or nature negative, to what extent nature negative, how that could be actually negotiated. So we'll be looking into specific indicators, frameworks, case studies over the next month. So already here, yeah, we need you. So please always feel free to get in contact with you. There will be also an open call, of course, for nature-based enterprises, other building industry players, maybe also large scale, owners of buildings, cities, municipalities, certain projects, products and services that could be assessed from our viewpoint, that we get to understand if we're picking the right set of indicators, how it can actually work. So we are going to stress that a bit, our methodology and what's after. So we will need you, stay close to us. And yes, already also one viewpoint a bit more to the future. So we will be surveying again. So what you can expect is a larger market survey on a European perspective, where we're going also to ask for opinions and also transition in our industry in order to develop, European scale, also in some cases national scale roadmaps for nature positive development. So this is what you can actually look forward to. From an EFB viewpoint, we have a very nice meeting next week on the 4th of December. Again, 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock CET. You are really warmly invited. This is our EFB open meeting for members of members. And of course, also other interested people in case they want to. It's again in, the setup, most of you will already know. So in the first block, we are a bit reflecting and looking on the European Commission policies and national implementations of them. And then we have 4 topic speeches. So I will be looking a bit deeper into the national market report, basically also what I presented to you today a bit, but just in a very short wrap up. And then we have a talk from Alberto and Enrica from Italy, who will inform us on how we can apply the environmental product declaration to green roof substrates. I personally find it's very interesting, followed by Sophie Rosset-Rouvière from France. She will introduce the new Adivet Green Roof Score in France, a newly basically introduced digital tool where eco benefits of green roofs and terrace projects can be measured. So I'm quite sure you would rather not miss that one. And yes, last but not least, we also invited David from Illuminium, Gaia by Illuminium, who will give us an intro about biodiverse data that he basically and his company are gathering in and Gaia application, and how that could be also usable and beneficiary to our industry, and how we could also better integrate biodiversity data in our projects. So moderated, of course, and accompanied by our ambassador, Dusty Getch, And yes, Paulo Palha, our president, of course, will be also there to discuss, especially EU related questions. In 2025, we have a lot of different webinars again on the plan. So you can also check our YouTube channel because we are always publishing our webinars and knowledge for free. So normally we invite 2 to 3 speakers. We pick one really cool topic, from city strategies to biosolar green roof, ecosystem services of green roofs, sustainability approaches, retrofitting. So we've touched a lot of different sector areas this year already. And next year, we're also going to focus a bit on green facade. And I think we also maybe repeat our green roof and green wall fuck-up seminar, which was highly appreciated. I think we had a record of people present. It was also a lot of fun, but yeah, we also have to talk openly. Sometimes projects fail, so we should do everything in order to avoid failing. So why not put some fails on the screen and have some, yes, of course, highly elaborated thoughts and a few laughs about it too. So thanks for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed our webinar. Of course, you can reach out to us on all channels provided. And yes, last but not least, please do us a favor, do the survey online and give us some feedback on our concept note that we can, yes, finalize this process and yes, go into action with you. Maybe words back to Nina. She was also here from the project team until the very end, and already have a nice evening from my side.
Yeah, nothing much to add from my end, Vera. You did an amazing job explaining the project and the work that you've just been doing. Thank you so much for joining the session, and we would really appreciate if you could take like a few minutes of your time to do the survey. We'd really appreciate your feedback and your opinions, be it good, bad, anything in between. We want to hear everything that you want to say, so please do that, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Goodbye, have a nice evening. Thanks, team, for organizing.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the organization.
Thank you for joining.